So welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. This is the live watch-along stream for the Cork and Limerick 2021 All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship Final. Here we go. Cork and Limerick facing off in the All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship Final. This is the live watch-along stream, so we'll be filming my live reaction to the game as it happens, as always. In a similar fashion to the way I've done the Dublin and Mayo live watch-along stream last weekend, I'll be filming my live reaction. I won't be showing the game in any way, obviously for copyright reasons and whatnot. I mean, if I was to show the game, we wouldn't last too long, unfortunately. So just want to get that over with. If you're here to watch the game, that's not happening here. This is my live reaction to both Cork and Limerick facing off against each other. That's about to throw in now in about 10 minutes time. You might notice the different kind of background. I'm actually on holidays at the moment. I'm over in Madrid, but I brought all the camera equipment, and do you know what? I actually think this is a better setup than what I have at home, to be honest with you. But here we go, Cork and Limerick, about to throw in about 10 minutes. In terms of the game, I think Limerick will have too much, in my opinion. I think Limerick have been, like, they're the season team. They're the side that's been there, done it over the past 2 to 3 years. You're looking at top-class hurlers all across the pitch. It's just going to be so hard to see how this young and in many ways inexperienced Cork side managed to find a way to actually beat Cork, or to find a way to actually beat Limerick, because, like, yes, they do have Patrick Horgan, who's one of the best hurlers in the country, no doubt about it, but, like, the thing about Limerick is they just have so many players all across the pitch. You know, if Kyle Hayes isn't at it, then Cian Lynch will be at it. If Gerard Hegarty isn't at it, then one of the other players will step up as well. Aaron Galland, like, they just move as a unit. They're just a top class team, and it'd be very, very hard to see how Cork beat them. I would like to see Cork win. I mean, I've no affiliation really with either, but I don't know. I don't really know who I want to win personally as a Dublin man, but I think it would be nice to see Cork win the game, and Limerick, to be fair, have had their moment over the past couple of years. 16 years since Cork won an All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship. It's a huge game for Patrick Horgan as well. Probably the best hurler to never win an All-Ireland, well, at least still playing anyways. So huge opportunity for Cork. In terms of a score prediction, I do believe I gave it in the preview. I do think Limerick will win it by 6 or 7 points, in my opinion. I think, look, listen, they don't need to get many goals, Limerick, and I do think they will go ahead and press very much on Cork. Ryan Harrington says, do you have a link? Well, I mean, just go ahead. Go on GAA Go on RTE. You'll find it. Let's see if they leave the Artane Boys band on the pitch this time around when they do the throw in. There we go. Ryan Harrington says, I'm in Canada. Yeah, I'm in Madrid, man. Yeah, what can you do? I'm watching it on GAA Go. Had to pay for it. That's unfortunately how it works, you know. I'm in Argentina. I think if you go on GAA Go, you should be all right. I don't think you need a VPN. Here we go, anyways. It's great to see all the fans back as well. Almost nearly a full capacity stadium. Not completely full, but at least almost full anyways, which is brilliant. It's what you want to see. I'm not paying €20. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, mate. I mean, it's everyone's money or it's your money at the end of the day. I mean, you could probably find a stream somewhere if you looked hard enough. If there's a will, there's a way. I think Cork need a fast start in this game as well, because if Limerick load them away too early, it's going to be very hard for Cork to come back. I mean, one thing that Limerick have been so good at is using the water breaks. And I think for Cork, they need to stick with Limerick, just be in with a chance going down the home stretch, and then you just never know. There will be inexperience in that Cork side as well. Like a lot of players on the pitch there that have never played in an All-Ireland final at senior level. You're thinking of the likes of Jack O'Connor and their own Cadigans obviously come back into the side. Obviously, he was part of the footballers back in 2010 when Cork won the All-Ireland. So there is a lot of inexperience. 2013 was the last time Cork played in a senior hurling championship final. A lot of pressure on them as well. Like, it's a huge, huge game. And obviously, having won the minor All-Ireland, having won the under-20 All-Ireland, to go and make it a treble, to go and make it 3 All-Irelands in a weekend, I mean, that would be incredible stuff, isn't it? I feel like Cork is probably one of the only counties that can actually go and do that. But, yeah, exciting stuff. And you'd have to say, like, for Limerick, I mean, they're the Kilkenny of this decade, in my opinion, so far. Like, obviously, having won a couple of All-Irelands in the past couple of years, 2 All-Irelands in the past 3 years, you would expect them to go ahead and make it 3 All-Irelands in 4 years. Like, they're a serious team. So much talent all across the pitch, like we were saying before. And, like, the intensity that they play with, they really just press on teams. They don't, like, Cork. One thing we've seen in the Kilkenny-Cork game, and I don't know if many people watch my preview, but we're saying that Cork, they love their short puck outs, and Kilkenny were allowing them to play the ball out from the back, but then as soon as they would, they'd press on them, and they were turning Cork over in the first quarter. Like, Kilkenny led 6-2 in that opening 15 minutes in that semi-final, and that's definitely like they can't afford to make those mistakes, because I do think that for Limerick, like, they'll be even better. Like, Kilkenny weren't even at their best in that opening 15 minutes. They were 6-2 up. If Kilkenny had got a goal in those few moments, like, they had a couple of chances. I remember TJ Reid had a chance. So Cork need to start fast. They need to start fast, and I think if they start fast and they stay with Limerick, they should be all right. Lee says, I'm literally walking through the streets of Limerick, getting some vodka. Good man, Lee. Good man. I don't know if you're a Cork or a Limerick fan. And I don't know if you're drowning your sorrows or you're... I don't know. I think even if Cork lose this game, though, I think unless they get absolutely trashed, I think they've done themselves proud. They've done what they needed to do this year. And they've been very, very impressive so far. Martin says Limerick. We're underway anyways. I'm not too sure how my stream looks, by the way, with the internet. It might be a bit all over the place, but I am in a hotel at the moment, so I'm kind of winging it. Brilliant bit of play there. Keane Lynch with the score. Hello from Saudi Arabia. Do you know what? I don't think I'm going to use the score here, because Patrick Collins there. I mean, he's a new player in the side as well. Hello from Saudi Arabia. Great to hear it. Who am I up for? To be honest, I don't know. I mean, as a Dublin man, there is a bit of a rivalry between Dublin and Cork down the years. I do like Limerick. I've been to Limerick a couple. I don't really know. I've no real affiliation with either side. I'm looking for a cracking game of hurling. Maybe we go to extra time. Just let's have a brilliant spectacle. No refereeing decisions. So yeah. Patrick Horgan puts it over the bar. 1-1. I'm not going to put a score on the screen because there's going to be it's going to be trading blow for blow. I won't have time to quickly updating it. Yeah, fair. Can't go wrong with a good game of hurling. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Keane Lynch there on the ball. Whips away. Lovely pass there into Garrod Hegarty, who's in already. He scored. It's a goal already for Limerick. Unbelievable stuff there. Garrod Hegarty and Cork get opened up after 2 minutes. And, Limerick don't even normally score that many goals. And straight away, Keane Lynch running down the left-hand side, little hand pass into Garrod Hegarty, smashes it past Patrick Collins, and Limerick score already. And Cork, we were saying it before, Cork need to start well, because if they don't start well, it could... It's early days, yeah, but Helen B says, can you repeat the score often? Yeah, I think at every water break I'll put in the score. Or something to that effect, anyways. Aaron Galland there with another chance. Fast start, it must be said, by Limerick. Nathan says Cork all the way. If you're new around here, if you could leave a like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I do a number of live watch-alongs, podcasts, interviews, match reactions, bit of everything really on the channel. So if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Cork on the ball now. See, look at the sheer intensity Limerick are playing with. They're probably one of the only teams in hurling that can play with that intensity. But this is good play by Cork. Shane Kingston run down the left-hand side. Goes for himself. Oh, he scored. Unbelievable stuff. Shane Kingston, he gets the start. And he gets the goal. And oh my goodness me, this is some game of hurling we're witnessing here. Shane Kingston driving down the left-hand side. He just keeps going. Limerick can't get anywhere. Poor defending from Limerick. Goes through Nicky Quaid. And Limerick don't even normally concede that many goals as well. And they've scored one. And they've conceded one. And what unbelievable stuff there from Shane Kingston. What a fast start here. Cork 1-1, Limerick 1-2. Brilliant catch there by Jack O'Connor. Driving brilliantly. Kyle Hayes with a brilliant interception. And now he's driving forward. One of those driving runs. Offloads it into Keane Lynch. Declan Hannon goes for the point. Has he put it wide? No, he's put it over. 1-3-2. Brilliant stuff there from Limerick, and they lead by 2 points. Very, very impressive from Limerick there. Cork win the puck out, and then Kingston. He's put it wide. Probably snatched it out a bit too quickly. There's Patrick Collins with the puck out. Fell to Shane Kingston, who won the puck out, and then just snatched it and put it wide. Mark Holman marking Keane Lynch. Brilliant stuff there by Cork and win it back. I think the thing as well for Cork is they can't afford to have too many wides, especially in the early stages. Like, there'd be a little bit of nerves. Because if there was, obviously for a lot of those Cork players, it's Some of them would have played in 2013. A lot of them wouldn't. So you'd have to imagine just Limerick, they've been there, they've done it. They'll have a bit more experience in the opening 10 minutes or so. And we've seen Limerick have been very efficient so far. Samantha McCarthy says, did you ever play yourself? Play football. Yeah, would have played football. Never played hurling now, unfortunately. It was never that good. Do have a lot of family who play hurling, though, so it is in the family. Who's winning? Limerick are winning by 2 points at the moment, 1-3 to 1-1. Looks like it's going to be 1-4 now. No, it's wide. So Cork with the sideline. Mark Coleman going to work it out. It's a short into Robbie O'Flynn. Cork just trying to work the ball out here now. Just keep the ball. Patrick Collins goes long. Cork definitely going long quite a lot here. Surely Limerick are going to win that, and they do. Sean Finn comes out with it. I'm not too sure if for Cork, like going long, if they are going to persist with that. Like Limerick are one of the best teams at catching those high balls, and I know Patrick Horgan was very, very effective against Kilkenny under a high ball. Like he won a lot of ball ahead of Hugh Lawler, like, and had a brilliant first half, and maybe that's a similar tactic to what they're looking for. Cork working the ball out. Cork trying to get forward. Limerick intercepting. Michael de Souza Cruz there says, hey there from the USA. Gee, first time tuning into your channel for a live stream. Can't wait to watch this game. Love hurling. Yeah, cheers very much, Michael. Very much appreciate it. If you could subscribe, I'd very much appreciate it. Yeah, so far anyway, Limerick are winning 1-4 to 1-1. I will try to update the score maybe at water breaks and stuff, but yeah, I don't have a scoreboard graphic or anything. I will need to maybe work on that at some stage, but LTW Trials says, who do you think will win? I think Limerick will win personally. I think Limerick have been, they've won 2 of the last 3 All-Irelands. They've been very impressive this year. Like the way they dismantle, like Tipperary are a good team and they just wiped the floor with them in the second half. The same with Waterford as well. Like really, really top class team. And they're not reliant maybe on 1 or 2 players. I think Cork are probably very reliant maybe on Patrick Horgan, Shane Kingston. Like they need to have big games. Whereas for Limerick, if Aaron Gallan doesn't have a big game, you've got Gerard Hegarty there who will step up. You've also got Keane Lynch in there. You've got Tom Morrissey as well. And then like for Limerick, you've got players like Pat Ryan coming off the bench. So you've got some top class players coming off the bench as well. So, but to be fair to Cork, I think they'll be happy with the fact that they're only 2 points behind after conceding that early goal. Like they could have maybe things could have got a bit bad there, but it was a very impressive response, and they didn't panic either. And a lovely point there from Limerick, 1-5 to 1-2. Samantha McCarthy says, what you play under, I just subscribed. Yeah, I don't play anymore, unfortunately. Would have played football when I was younger. But as soon as I turned 18, I just didn't have much interest in it anymore. Didn't have much interest in playing, but who knows? Maybe I'll come out of retirement one day. Limerick leading 1-5 to 1-2. Cork definitely going along quite a lot here with these puck outs so far, and it hasn't really worked because Limerick have just been able to win the ball back far too easily. Cork do have it back here though with Mark Holman, who's definitely been quite involved so far. They're trying to work it forward. Here's Seamus Harnedy driving. Limerick trying to be aggressive. Cork run through. What wonderful hurling. The way they got through there, though, like a lot of running from, was it Jack O'Connor? It was Seamus Harnedy originally. And William O'Donoghue and Darragh O'Donovan both on him, both fouling him. Brought back for a free in the end for Cork. But in fairness, though, brilliant from Harnedy. He got away from 2-3 players, attacked the space, was able to move into it, and definitely had a real opportunity there. It's going to be a third point for Patrick Horgan, puts it over. 3 points for Horgan so far, a goal for Shane Kingston. 1-5 to 1-3 for Limerick so far. 2 points for Peter Casey, 1 for Seamus Flanagan, 1 for Keane Lynch, and a goal from Garrod Hegarty. Here's the long ball again. Are they going to win it? They don't. Limerick deal with it again. Sean Finn and Dan Morrissey. So you're surrendering the ball if you keep going long. I understand why they're doing it, because they want to try to get Patrick Horgan on the ball, because once he wins the ball, he's probably going to put it over the bar, get a goal. But he hasn't won too many of them so far, it must be said. Donald O'Sullivan asks if anyone know which radio station the match is on. I'm not too sure. Maybe RT radio or something to that effect. I'm sure if you Google it, it might come up. It'll definitely be on some radio stations anyway. I mean, it is an All-Ireland final after all. Conor McCarthy says, if Cork score more goals, will they win? Well, I'd imagine that's generally how it works, isn't it? The more goals and points you get, you win the game. So I'd imagine they would win the game. Robbie O'Flynn driving. It's going to be a point for Cork, and it is. Brilliantly taken point there by Robbie O'Flynn. 1-5 to 1-4. Cork very much in this game. There's only a point in it here so far. And you'd have to say, like, it's been very, very good from Cork. Like, they've been winning a lot of ball. They've been winning a lot of Limerick's puckouts as well, to be fair to them. Aaron Gallant. And he puts it in the back of the net right past Patrick Collins. And goodness me, that's way too easy there. That is way too easy. I mean, it was 2v2. It was a short puck out originally to Jeremy Burns. They hit it long into Garrod Hegarty. He picked out Aaron Gallant. It was 2v2, and Cork they needed to get a lot closer there. They needed to press on the ball. Like, they just allowed Aaron Gallant to have a free shot at goal there. Put it over the bar. It was almost like a penalty. Samantha McCarthy says, do you ever go to the matches? Yeah, I go to as many matches as I can. I was at the Dublin and Kilkenny game earlier in the year. I actually made a vlog at that game, so if you want to check it out on the channel, you can. It's there somewhere. Someone asking where I'm from in Ireland. I'm from Dublin. So still mourning last week's loss, unfortunately, to Mayo, but it is what it is. Brilliant point there by Peter Casey. Limerick, 4 points to the good now, 2-6 to 1-5. And Limerick they seem to be really like picking up the pace. And for Cork, like, they've done so much work to get back level, to get back into the game. And now now they're 4 points down. But here's Seamus Harnedy was driving, loses the ball. Limerick have it back. You feel like Cork are playing a dangerous game here. They're pushing too many players forward and leaving way too much space in behind. And Aaron Gallant with a brilliant point there. 2-7 to 1-5 for Limerick. Brilliant from Limerick so far. 5 points to the good. And see, that's the thing about Limerick. They just have that ability to turn around quickly. And look at the pressure, like Patrick Collins there from trying to play it out. They're not allowing Cork play it out from the back, really putting them under pressure. And you just wonder, like, it's going to be tough for Cork. Seamus Harnley, is he going for the point? He goes for it, puts it over the bar. It's a brilliant point there from Seamus Harnley. Brilliant stuff from Cork, and they've brought it back to a 4-point game. Michael's asking there, have you ever watched a 4-part series released by the GAA on the history of hurling? I've never watched that in all honesty, but I definitely say it is quite interesting. I do tend to watch try and watch a lot of the kind of older games as well. Like, you know, nothing better than a classic game. Limerick 4 points to the good here so far. It must be said, they came fast out of blocks with that early Gearóid Hegarty goal. Cork, to be fair, responded brilliantly with Shane Kingston, who put the ball on the back of the net, running from the left-hand side. They go long once again. Limerick once again come out with it, though. Dan Morrissey and Sean Finn have been unbelievable at the back, and I think they've probably been man of them, both two of the best players so far for Limerick, because you just wonder for Cork, like, could they just work the ball into better positions rather than hitting it long into Patrick Horgan? I feel like they maybe need to start doing something a bit different here, because I don't really think it's working. Niall O'Leary gets caught in possession, and that's what we were talking about in the preview. Limerick will punish you if you make mistakes like that, and that's what they've done. Seamus Flanagan puts it over. 2-8 to 1-6 for Limerick. Cork playing it out from the back, shorthand passing, stick passing as well. They get caught. Niall O'Leary intercepted by Cian Lynch. He offloads it into Seamus Flanagan over the bar. 2-8 to 1-6, and that's probably the water break, and it is. Limerick in front by 5 points in this game. So Limerick leading 2-8 to 1-6, a 5-point lead here at the first water break. And Limerick, who normally use these water breaks, I mean, John Coyley, Paul Kinnerk, probably arguably the best in-game management team in hurling, possibly even in the GAA. I mean, like, if there's problems, they find the solutions. And that's been something that's been so impressive with Limerick down the years. And you can see Paul Kinnerk there marching out the orders. You would have to feel for Cork, like, are they going to persist with hitting long balls into Patrick Horgan? Because we're seeing that Limerick are crowding that full-back area, and they're winning the ball time and time again. And I just feel like they're surrendering possession far too easily. Limerick work it up the other end and put it over the bar, or even work a goal. So I think for Limerick, I think for Cork, they really need to just try find players in better positions, work the ball a bit more. Maybe Patrick Horgan needs to drop a bit deeper rather than hitting those long balls in there. Matthew Hurley says there, Limerick 2-8 from play so far. Ridiculous, yeah. Limerick have been really, really impressive here so far. They've really come fast out of the blocks. And like, I don't think Cork have been that poor so far. I just think Limerick have just, like, I don't even know if they've hit a wide so far in this game. They've been so impressive. And Cork just playing this dangerous game. Limerick's pressure is just relentless. They really get in the faces of the opposition players. They just don't allow them play out from the back. And in many ways, they're actually forcing Cork to go long. I feel like Limerick are playing Cork almost at their own game here. Oh, look at that from Gearóid Hegarty. Unbelievable skill. Flicking it away from one of the Cork players. Puts it wide. maybe too wide so far for Limerick. I mean, they've been so impressive coming straight out of blocks. Robbie O'Flynn. These need to go over. They don't. See that? Like, that's a big difference as well. Like, it's just... Cork win the ball back. It's a good play there. Sean O'Donoghue, a bit of space here now for Cork on the attack. Harnady's surely putting it over the bar, and he does. 1-7 to 2-8. Cork. 4 points, and you feel like with Limerick, though, they always just have that ability to step it up a gear. Even when, like you see, against Waterford, when Waterford started to turn the tide in the second half and come back into the game, Limerick then stepped it up another notch again. Like, they just have that ability to step it up a gear when they need to. Dubs fan says they're 3-14, scored in 18 minutes, insane stuff. Absolutely. I mean, it's been a cracking game so far, you'd have to say. Like, I didn't really think the All-Ireland final last year between Limerick and Waterford was particularly brilliant. I think Limerick they were just cruising, really. They were keeping Waterford at arm's length. They didn't need to step it up a gear. Won the game quite comfortably. There was no goals in that game as well. But so far, this final has been absolutely brilliant. And Limerick have been very, very impressive. 2-9 to 1-7. Very, very impressive stuff so far from Limerick, and just the skill they play with as well, the way they move the ball, the way they work it, it's just so impressive. So a lovely goal by Shane Kingston. Probably hasn't really been in the game since that goal, though. Like, he had one chance after that, which he put wide, but he hasn't really had the same. And like, you feel like with Cork, like, if they don't get the ball to Shane Kingston or Patrick Horgan, they start to run out of options. Jack O'Connor, very quiet so far in this game. I mean, he was very quiet in the Kilkenny game as well, and he came into life at the end of the second half. Dropped a lot deeper in the second half, started picking up the ball. And that's because Jack O'Connor's biggest strength really is just driving at players. When he gets that ball, he runs with pace. We just haven't really seen that so far from Cork. Would have been a big point there from Declan Hannon, puts it wide. 6 points now at the minute. Limerick are they're starting to build up a bit of a gap, and it's a tough one for Cork at the moment. Mujib says, can Cork come back? I mean, you'd never say never, but I look, it's 6 points. It's not the biggest lead in the world in hurling. I mean, we've seen Cork come from behind against Kilkenny last weekend when they were 4 or 5 points down. They turned it around. I mean, they allowed Kilkenny back into the game as the game went on, but you just feel like Limerick are one of those sides. They're so good at managing a lead, managing a game. So much experience as well from winning 2 All-Irelands in the past 3 years. Seamus Flanagan with a big chance there, though, puts it wide. I mean, that's a chance he'd normally put over. Huge chance there for Limerick. And Cork's puck-out strategy just isn't working so far here as well. Like, they're going man-on-man, Cork. You can understand why. There's no point doubling up on one individual player when they've got so much talent all across the pitch. But the problem is, like, I don't know if Cork are getting tight enough with Limerick as well. They just... When the Limerick forwards get the ball in those areas, they just seem to have so much space to turn and put it over the bar. Like, I just don't think Cork are getting tight enough defensively so far, and they've been opened up far too easily. A wide there from Shane Kingston. Cork definitely with more wides here so far at the moment. 10 minutes to go till half time. It's a brilliant point there by Peter Casey. And Limerick are cruising here at the moment. They're leading by 8 points after 24 minutes. 2-12 so far. Wonderful from Peter Casey. Sells Niall O'Leary a little dummy. Wow, look at that. I mean, that is tremendous skill there from Peter Casey. I think all of Limerick's scores have been from play so far as well, which is extremely impressive. Will O'Donoghue. Long ball. They just know where everyone is. Like straight away up to Aaron Gallan. Aaron Gallan then into Peter Casey. Back to Gallan. Gallan now driving here. Limerick are completely open and Cork up. There's another chance. And it goes wide. It was a wonderful opportunity there from Limerick who ventured forward. It was Aaron Gallan. Played it back to Peter Casey. I'm telling you what, if that went over the bar there, or if that went in the back of the net, I mean, that it would have been game over, in my opinion. Like 11 points after 25 minutes. I mean, that's too much. That would have been far too much. It is a brilliant game so far, it must be said, but the only real worry is that, I mean, like what I said before, I want the game to be competitive. I want it to be edge of the seat stuff. And if Limerick just run away with it, I mean, we're probably not going to get that. So Cork definitely really need to just step it up. Like we've seen Shane Kingston hitting a couple of chances wide as well. They just haven't been. I think because it's like it is such a big game and they're just missing a few of those opportunities that they need to be scoring. And 26 minutes gone. It's Cork 1-7, Limerick 2-13. And Cork they need to get something on the board here because I think since the water break, they've probably only scored, 1 or 2 points. I'm just looking at Cork scorers so far, like Patrick Horgan, 4 points, 3 points. All of them from free so far as well. Jack O'Connor with a point, Shane Kingston with a goal. They need to get more into the game. Long ball to Patrick Horgan. Now he's on the ball. And now he puts it over the bar. That's a point from play there from Patrick Horgan. Brilliant stuff there. Really well taken point. Puts it over the bar. And like that's why they are going for those long balls into Patrick Horgan, because when he gets the ball in that position, I mean, there's no better man to have on the edge of the square than Patrick Horgan because he's a top-class player. But the problem is that Limerick have, top-class defenders in Sean Finn and Dan Morrissey. I mean, 2 top-class defenders, and if you're floating long balls into them, like they'll win the ball 9 times out of 10. Wonderful stuff there from Limerick. Cian Lynch, 9 points. Really well taken by Flanagan. Pass breaks down. Free in for Limerick. Michael de Souza Cruz says, what do you think is Cork's tactics and why it may not be working for them in this half? Well, I think they're definitely floating a lot of long balls into Patrick Horgan because Patrick Horgan is one of those players that, like when he's driving at you in those positions, in and around the square or the D area, he's brilliant at putting the ball over the bar from there. Brilliant at creating space, causes all sorts of havoc, and he's a really tall, aggressive player as well. Like he's really built. You're looking at the Limerick side and there's so many top-class defenders, and there's such a physical side. Like, it's very hard to break through them. He's one of the players that can, but I think so far it hasn't really... I don't think it's really worked so far. Like, Limerick have won a lot of those balls. And they are trying to play short puckouts as well, but Limerick's relentless pressure and pressing is just... It's far too much for Cork to deal with. and they've been turning Cork over, and they've almost been forcing Cork to hit long balls. And I actually think Limerick want that, to be honest. I think it's suiting them. And Peter Casey look as if a bit of an injury there. <clears throat> 125 people watching at the moment. If you could hit the like button and subscribe, I'd really, really appreciate it. Five minutes to go until half time. Brilliant point there from Aaron Gallan. It's a 10-point game after 30 minutes, and Cork are in massive danger. Just really, really fallen away. I think since the water break, I think Cork have hit 3 points. And here Cork are trying to play the ball out from the back, like the sure hand pass and stick passing. And this is a bit better now. They're starting to move the ball a bit quicker. Luke Meade gets forward, should be going over there. And he does, puts it over. Cork bring it back to 9. So a little bit more impressive because Limerick will be aggressive and they will try getting the faces of the Cork team. And if they can move it quickly enough, it's risky, but if they can get it right, you know, it's a huge chance to start to claw the lead back a bit. 9 points at the moment, and sideline ball for Cork. They can just start to slow the game down a bit, Cork, like just get a couple more points, maybe a goal, just to bring themselves back into it. Because at least if they go into halftime, they have something. There's something to be confident about, and there's something to work on going into the second half. Patrick Horgan, absolutely brilliant. And when he gets on the ball, he can really, really make it happen, and it's brilliant from Cork. I feel like he needs to float more in around the half-forward line, just like drift around it, rather than staying up at full forward. He needs to drift in around the half-forward line and drop a bit deeper to get the ball. Luke Meade goes long. Can Horgan win it? It's Jack O'Connor trying to win it there, but Sean Finn gets it. Jack O'Connor probably just not got into the game to the same extent as some previous games. But if you do remember the Kilkenny game, he struggled in the first half, wasn't really in it. In the second half, he really, really came alive. And extra time, obviously got the goal as well. So brilliant point there. Jeremy Burns, one of the best wing backs in the game, no doubt about it. And like we're seeing there on the RT graphic, like Limerick have had far, like they've had more or less the same turnovers, but Limerick have just been so much more efficient with it. And like just looking at Limerick, you've got Peter Casey, you've got 1, 2, 3, 9 scorers so far for Limerick, and we've only played 33 minutes. I mean, that is just like the thing about most teams is maybe you'll have a couple of sharpshooters in there. You'll have a few players that you really, really need to pay close attention to. Like if Tipperary are playing, you need to watch Shamie Callan or Nolan, John McGrath, maybe Jason Ford as well. With Cork, Patrick Horgan, Kilkenny, TJ Reid. But with Limerick, it's all over the pitch. It's almost every player. It's just they're almost impossible to stop. The score at the moment, Cork 110, Limerick 217. I mean, Limerick nearly have a score that you'd see at the end of a game. I mean, to have scored 217, almost approaching half time. I mean, incredible stuff so far from Limerick. Like having a score of 110 at half time isn't that bad. focus the camera there a bit. Brilliant stuff there. Cork playing it out from the back. Long ball there into Patrick Horgan. Plays it in, trying to work a goal opportunity, but Limerick brilliant in defence again, and Declan Hannon comes away with it. Cian Lynch now on the ball, racing forward, getting away. And Limerick are in the space here. Cian Lynch has worked it into Hegarty, who gives it a bit of a shimmy, goes for goal, puts it through the legs of Patrick Collins. 3-17 in 35 minutes. This has to be one of the best first half performances in an All-Ireland final that I've ever seen. This is unbelievable. I mean, it's almost too good to be true. It's incredible stuff from Limerick. It's just I have no words. I really don't. Like, it's unbelievable stuff from Limerick. I mean, it was Declan Hannon who won the ball initially. It was Patrick Horgan originally who had the ball over in the corner forward position, tried to work a goal opportunity. Declan Hannon intercepted, offloaded it into Cian Lynch. He then picked out Gearóid Hegarty, a little shimmy around Niall O'Leary, I think it was, and then just hammers it past Patrick Collins, who didn't even move. I mean, it was in the back of the net before he even seen it. Unbelievable stuff from Gearóid Hegarty, hurler of the year last year, and I think so far for Gearóid Hegarty, like he's been quietish so far in the championship this year. Like, he hasn't necessarily, like, he's been impressive, but he's been quiet. He's just gone about his business quietly. And now in this game, he's really, really stood up. And similar to last year's All-Ireland final as well, where I think he won man of the match that day, and it was an unbelievable performance. It's been very, very impressive stuff so far in this game as well. Laura says the stream is helpful for those who can't see it. Thank you very much, Laura. Very much appreciate it. Cork get a point there. I mean, it's been brilliant from Limerick, and you'd love to see it, but it's hard to see how Cork come back from this point. Like, 12 points down at half time. It's just such a big margin, and like 3-17 in the first half. Like, they'll put into context, if they were to score another 3-17 in the second half, I mean, I'd highly doubt they'd be able to sustain this amount of pressure. But 3-17 in the second half, I mean, what's that? Six goals and 34 points, 32 points. I mean, it's just incredible stuff, especially for an All-Ireland final. And Cork are not a bad team. Like, they're a very good team. A lot of very good players coming through, and Limerick have just been unbelievable so far. Sean O'Donoghue, they're trying to pick out their options, but their passing game just hasn't worked, and it's too many loose passes, too many mistakes so far from Cork, and whether it's pressure or nerves, but they're giving the ball away to Limerick far too easily. I don't think defensively they've been tight enough as well, and Limerick have been exceptional, and I think that's the reason why we've got such a big scoreline that we have. And half time, unbelievable stuff in the first half there from Limerick. 3-18 in the first half. I mean, just incredible stuff from Limerick. Probably the best first half performance I've seen in an All-Ireland hurling final at any level. I mean, that is just extraordinary stuff. So that's the score on screen. Limerick 3-18, Cork 1-11. Let me know your thoughts on the game so far in the comments down below. So far, I suppose from a Limerick point of view, it's been absolutely brilliant so far. They've been so impressive so far in the game, and Cork just haven't, like, they got that early goal from Shane Kingston. It was a really well taken finish to respond to that early Limerick goal, but they just haven't been able to find that same energy that they had in the opening couple of minutes. And just look at, like, I'll just have a look through some of the scores so far in the game as well. Like Limerick so far, 5 points for Peter Casey, 1 point for Seamus Flanagan, 1-3 for Aaron Gallan, 2-2 for Gerard Hegarty, Keane Lynch with a point, Tom Morrissey with 2 points, Jeremy Burns with a point, Declan Hannon with a point, Darragh O'Donovan with a point, Barry Nash with a point. I mean, it's just like almost everyone on the pitch has scored for Limerick, other than Carl Hayes, Dan Morrissey, and William O'Donoghue, and Nicky Quaid, if you want to count that as well. Like 4 players, 3 outfield players haven't scored so far for Limerick. Carl Hayes probably will score, and Sean Finn and William O'Donoghue could easily score as well. I mean, it's just unbelievable stuff. Sir Klopp says Limerick accuracy is ridiculous. It really, really is. I mean, they must have only hit maybe 3 or 4 wides. And they just seem to be getting better and better and better as the games go on. And like 4 points since the water break for Cork, whereas for Limerick, I mean, going into the water break, they had 2-7. So I mean, what are you talking there? They finished with 3-17. They've scored 2-7 in the first quarter, 1-10 in the second quarter, and they've just really, really outscored. It's just been far too comfortable for Limerick. Very impressive by. We'll get that comment up there. Very impressive by Limerick. Amazing the wealth of scoring and hurling these days. Exceptional quality from the players. Yeah, I mean, like what I was saying there, probably one of the best first half performances in an All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship final. Not just one of the best first half performances in a final, but maybe ever. You know, I mean, unbelievable stuff. Sir Klopp says there again, Cork need to come out firing. They'll need 2 early goals in the second half to make a contest out of this. Yeah, they're going to need something going into that final water break. They need to have something, because you see with momentum in sport is absolutely everything. And a lot of Cork fans have travelled up, obviously, from Cork to Croke Park. You can see a lot of Cork fans in the crowd, and we seen even last week when Mayo started to turn the tide on Dublin. Like, the crowd makes such a massive difference, and it really, you know, the momentum is there. And if you hit 3 or 4 points, or maybe you get a goal, like, it gives you that extra spring in your step, that extra bit of energy. And Cork will need something like that, I think, at the start of the second half to really just try and turn the tide on this Limerick side, because Limerick probably will slow down inevitably. I'd be surprised if they could play at the exact same level. I think for Limerick, it would be more about slowing the game down in the second half, trying to manage it in the best way that they can. But if they keep that same intensity, I mean, unbelievable stuff. Pokemon Lover says best hurling team in history. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say best hurling team in history so far. I think it's probably a bit of a stretch. I'm sure the Kilkenny 4-in-a-row team probably has something to say about that. But definitely of this kind of time period, you know, they're the team to beat. And Limerick could easily. I mean, not easily, but they could win 4 in a row. It could be the first hurling team to win 5 in a row. I mean, I do think this Cork side are building. They have a lot of young players. Like, they've won the under-20 All-Ireland. They've won the minor All-Ireland. So they have a lot of underage talent. And I do think getting to a final this year, they're overachieving, in my opinion, by getting to an All-Ireland hurling final. And I know Patrick Horgan is getting older, and maybe when he steps away, you might have a couple. You know, they might not play with the same. Like, they don't have that same quality, and it's very, you don't find too many Patrick Horgans, but they do have a great crop of young players coming through. So, like for Galway, for example, who are losing Joe Canning, I think it's going to be a real rebuild with them. It's going to be a real transitional period. But I'd say for Cork, they're obviously losing Patrick Horgan. I mean, well, they're not losing him yet, but I mean, I'm sure he will step away in the next 3 to 4 years. They've got players there coming through. And Limerick just came forward, like we're seeing here. For those of you who might be watching the game, I mean, Limerick just fast out of the traps. Just looking at some of the goals here again. I mean, the movement and just the little shimmies, the wrist work, the flicks, the stick passing. I mean, it's exhibition stuff. And even when you're watching Limerick play and you're watching them move the ball, it's almost like, it's almost like you're watching you're listening to a song or something. It's just the way they move. It's hard to explain. I'd say if Pokemon Lover says, if you put Kilkenny 4 in a row team versus Limerick would definitely win. I mean, I think hurling has changed since, hurling's always evolving. The game's always evolving. The game's a lot different now to how it would have been. I mean, I know the Kilkenny 4 in a row team wasn't that long ago. It was over 10 years ago. But when you look at some of the scores Kilkenny would have racked up in All-Ireland history, like when you look at the way they've started in this game, Limerick has been unbelievable. Someone's saying that Sir Klopp says what was the biggest one-sided hurling final in recent history. Hard to remember off the top of my head. I think was it Waterford and Kilkenny when Davy Fitz was Waterford manager. I know Kilkenny gave Waterford an absolute hammer in that day. I think Limerick actually, maybe in the early 2000s, maybe 2001 or something like that. I remember we're on the receiving end of a hammering. Michael D'Souza says movement like ice hockey, smooth like they're playing on ice. Yeah, you've put it perfectly there, to be honest with you, because you would look at the way they move. It nearly looks like they're skating around, and the way they're just playing it from side to side. It's almost poetic watching them. Like it nearly looks like you're watching a painting. Someone paint a, it's wonderful how they play. And certainly for Cork, like they'll need to do a lot to really try and stem the influence. And, Cork's trump card in the Kilkenny game was obviously bringing Shane Kingston off. But I do think so far, I think my mic disconnected there for a minute, but I think we're okay now. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, we're all good. I was just checking there. I thought my mic may be disconnected there for a moment, but looks like we're all right. Second half is going to be starting here now in a few minutes. I suppose for Cork, like what can they change going into the second half? It's such a tough one for them. I mean, I'm just going to have a look here and see like what players they have on the bench, or maybe who could come on and make a difference. Like you've got Damien Cahalan, who is an option. Alan Connolly's come off the bench a couple of times. Shane Barrett is another good option. Alan Cadigan, to be fair, hit 3 points when he came off the bench against Kilkenny, made a big impact in that game. But he definitely has a lot to do. And it's a different game as well. It's a different game compared to the Kilkenny game, and they will need to they'll need to do so much. And it's just, being perfectly honest, I just don't see how they're gonna stem the influence that is Limerick, because I don't think Limerick will play at the exact same intensity in the second half. Like, I don't think they'll hit 317 or anything like that, but they could. I think they'll manage the game very, very well, and they'll keep Cork at arm's length for the rest of the second half. But unbelievable stuff from Limerick in the first half. 3-18 after a first half of hurling is it's unbelievable stuff. It really, really is. 158 people watching there at the moment. If you could leave a like and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. Do a number of watch-along streams, match reactions, podcasts, absolutely everything. And I'm actually on holidays at the moment. I'm actually in Madrid. I'm not going to lie, I'm absolutely sweating sitting here at the moment. Like it's so warm here, but I'm sure in Ireland it's probably not like that at the moment. So I don't want to rub things in. But yeah, so far for Limerick, it's been brilliant. Very much enjoyed the game, and yeah, probably 35 minutes left of senior intercounty hurling this year in 2021 by the looks of it, because it's going to be very hard to see how Cork stem Limerick's influence and force extra time. Darlene says, watching from Boston, USA. Come on, Cork. Cheers for your comment, Darlene. Hopefully I said your name right. Yeah, look, listen, I'm sure Cork fans they'll stay optimistic, they'll stay positive. As I said at the start of the stream, and I said even in the preview and the build up to the game, I think Cork have done what, Cork weren't supposed to get to an All-Ireland final this year. A lot of people wouldn't have had Cork getting to an All-Ireland final this year. I think a lot of people were looking at Tipperary or Galway or Waterford as the closest teams to beating beating Limerick. Now, Cork didn't beat any of those teams. They've probably had you could arguably say they've had a much easier route to the final than Limerick, and compared to what we would have expected, just by the nature of the way the championship worked out. But I do think that Kilkenny team is a good team. And I think it was an unbelievable performance to win that game and come back in that game and then go again in extra time. So I do think they have a lot of young players coming through, under 20 players. They won a minor All-Ireland as well. They will win an All-Ireland in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm sure. There will be a year where Limerick will get caught at some stage. And whether it's Cork or someone else there, because Tipperary will need to rebuild, a new manager will need to come in there. Galway are going to need to rebuild as well. They're not going to have Joe Canning, and they're going to have to bring through a lot more under 20 players. A lot of Clare's players are going to older, like Tony Kelly, and they obviously don't have a brilliant, like their underage system isn't quite the same as Cork at the moment. Obviously, a lot of problems going on behind the scenes with Clare GAA. Kilkenny have a good crop of players, but not the same. So, I would expect Cork to be thereabouts in the next couple of years. And whilst Tipperary and Galway are sort of rebuilding in a bit of a transitional period, it will give Cork an opportunity. But the question will be, can they beat Limerick? That's the big one, because they're the team to beat. Couple of minutes here till the second half. Be interesting to see if there's going to be any changes from either Cork or Limerick so far in this game. We'll see if there are any second half changes. Obviously, Peter Casey's gone off for Limerick in the first half, obviously with that injury. He went off. And they obviously brought Graham Mulcahy on, who is another very impressive player and a brilliant player to bring off the bench for Limerick. You've still got David Reedy, who can come off the bench, Pat Ryan as well. And even Cathal O'Neill, who might get some game time maybe towards the end of the game. Brilliant under 20 player for Limerick so far. He's been very, very impressive player coming through the ranks for Limerick at the moment, and the fact that he isn't even getting on the pitch tells a lot, really. Oral Ali says embarrassing for a final. It depends what way you want to look at it, really. I don't think there's been anything embarrassing really about the first half. I mean, look, listen, Limerick have been unbelievable. They're playing probably the best hurling we've seen in the first half, and I don't think there's another team in the country that would have been able to stem that influence. Maybe another team might have been able to score a little bit more, and maybe it definitely hasn't been great from Cork. They've a few times with their stick passing and hand passing that's broken down, and hitting long puck outs into Patrick Horgan hasn't really worked either. But it is a lot of young players in the Cork side. There is a bit of inexperience. And it's just been unbelievable stuff from Limerick. And certainly in terms of the final, in terms of the standard of the final, it's been very entertaining. Hugely quick 35 minutes. Aidan Core says, thank you for the commentary. We won the National American final in Michigan. Lansdowne Yonkers are the best American soccer team in the US. There you go. Cheers very much. Congratulations, Aidan. Second half is away. Limerick straight away, just driving at Cork. And Cian Lynch just wins the ball back. Doesn't even... I mean, surely that's not going to go... I mean, if that went over, I mean, that just would have been something else completely. What a start to the second half that would have been. Limerick now on the ball with Tom Morrissey getting forward, plays it in to Seamus Flanagan. They just can't get tight enough with Limerick as well, and you could see Niall O'Leary there, like, pressed out. Like Cork's marking, they just didn't get tight enough there. Like, it was Robert Downey who followed one of the Limerick players who were on the ball, just left acres of space in behind, and Graham Mulcahy was free and probably could have even went for the goal. Like, they just don't seem to be tight enough in their marking, and they're just not very well set up. It's definitely been quite poor from Cork so far. Like, there's no doubt about it. But Limerick have been very, very impressive though. 14 points up here at the moment after 36 minutes. Barry O'Neill says, Barry and Adelaide watching from Paris. Thanks for keeping us up to date. Yeah, no problem at all. Limerick have just, I'm sure whenever whoever's watching the game are going back and watch this game, I mean, that first half performance, like, I feel like that's the template, that's the bar you need to get up to. If you want to beat this Limerick side, that's what you need to be prepared to do. Unbelievable play there. Grode Hegarty. Flanagan. Like, Limerick are just getting ahead of the defenders all the time. Gets in front of Niall O'Leary there. Whether it's Sean O'Donoghue, Robert Downey, or Niall O'Leary, like, they can't seem to get tight enough to Limerick. And like, I don't know if it's fatigue or what it is for Cork, but it just hasn't been... they're just allowing Limerick to win those balls. They're not getting in front of them. 15-point game, definitely a lot for Cork to work on. A few people asking, am I showing the game? No, I'm not showing the game. It's a live watch-along stream, as it says in the title. Obviously, if I was to show the game, copyright and whatnot. But the great news is the game is available on RTE or GAA Go, so you can watch it there. Limerick leading at the moment, 29 points to 15. Going down after 38 minutes. Cork really need a big third quarter here to really try and come back into the game, because Limerick are, they're 14 points in front at the moment. And so far, from watching the opening couple of minutes here at the start of the second half, it's been more or less the same as what we've seen in the first. It doesn't really look like Cork are it's hard to know how they stop Limerick. It really, really is. Do you drop Patrick Horgan a little deeper? Do you try change too many things? I mean, do you maybe play a sweeper? I mean, there's a lot for Cork to do. But even if they were to try and do something like that, even if they were to try and play a sweeper or something like that, limiting Limerick's influence would they're the ones that need to get back into this game. To be honest, Owen, it sounds like you need help there, mate. So, you're the one leaving comments like that on a stream. So, best of luck, anyways. Good play from Cork. I mean, they are playing those short hand passing, but Limerick have just pressing out on Cork. Definitely the intensity here so far in the second half isn't there. Patrick Horgan, lovely point. Seamus Harnedy, actually, as a matter of fact. Limerick at the moment, 14 points in front. You will feel it for Cork, like they're really going to have to try and go for goals. They're going to have to really try and get back into the game and go for goals. But I think at the same time, they'll want to take their point scoring opportunities at the moment. But I do sense the longer the game goes on and the longer the score stays like this, which is 30 points to 16 or 30 to 16, Limerick 14 ahead. Cork will have to start going for goals at some point, and I'm sure that they will. Keane Lynch, instinctive, puts it over the bar. Limerick 322 to 116 in front, cruising at the moment. Killian Horan says, what's the score? It's Cork 113, Limerick 322. It's been really impressive stuff from Limerick, and they haven't played to the exact same intensity as they did in the first, but as very much expecting, they're managing the game. They're doing what they need to do. They're taking their, I suspect they'll be going for points for the majority of the rest of this game. And they've just been so efficient and so clinical. Robbie O'Flynn into Patrick Horgan. And Limerick, they just crowd that area of the pitch as well. They just don't allow Cork to come back into it. Brilliant stuff there from Limerick playing out. Aaron Glan there pressing on Shamie Flanagan on Robert Downey. Cork, like they're trying to play through Limerick's press as well, and Limerick just play with such intensity. They're just turning Cork over time and time again. 42 minutes gone. Someone asking what time is on the clock. 42 minutes so far. 42 minutes so far in the game. Limerick 322 to 116 in front, or 113 in front, I should say. And yeah, like looking at Limerick having a scoreline of 322 after 43 minutes. I mean, that's normally what you'd see at the end of a game. Limerick had 317 in the first half. Sean Kelly says over already. Yeah, I mean, it's just very hard to see how Cork turn this around. I mean, they're 15 points down at the moment. They're going to need to start going for goals. But they were floating long balls into Patrick Horgan in the first half. It wasn't working. When they tried play through Limerick's press, that doesn't seem to work either. If they drop their players deeper, it might create more opportunities for points, but then it's goals that they need. So I wouldn't like to be Kieran Kingston at the moment. Definitely a fresh injection of pace from Cork's bench, maybe Shane Barrett, Alan Connolly, and they just need to run at Limerick's defence. They need to show for the ball and just really start going for it a bit more. Damien Cahalan puts it wide, and that's just the difference. Like Damien Cahalan over in a sort of left corner forward position or left wing forward position ends up putting it wide. Here's Limerick with Shamie Flanagan, and was blocked down in the end, but Limerick have it back again. Cian Lynch, another chance here for Limerick. This is probably going to be another goal. Shame, wonderful bit of play there. Brilliant save by Patrick Collins, and Limerick find a way, or Cork find a way to stem Limerick's goal threat there. It was nearly a fourth goal there for Limerick. Sean Kelly says, who's playing well for Limerick Cork? I think Gerard Hegarty's been unbelievable for Limerick so far. He scored 2-2. Like just that little shimmy as well for the second goal. If you go back and watch it, the way he sold one of the Cork players, a dummy went around him, put it in the back of the net. Patrick Collins didn't even move. I mean, it was an unbelievable goal. His first goal as well, very, very impressive stuff. And the way he moves with the ball, he looks like a mountain moving with the ball. I mean, he's some height, some physique, and such a hard player to dispossess. And he's been very, very impressive. And to be honest with you, you could really look at anyone for Limerick. I mean, like in terms of the scores for Limerick, like nearly everyone on the pitch has scored for Limerick, other than 4 players, and that's including the goalkeeper. And Graham Mulcahy, who came off the bench, he scored as well. Like Dan Morrissey, Sean Finn, Cole Hayes, William O'Donoghue, they're the only players that haven't scored for Limerick, and Nicky Quaid, if you wanted to count him as well. And that just shows like the amount of quality Limerick just have all over the pitch. 1-5 for Aaron Gallan as well. It's been very impressive so far. Got that early goal, set the template for Limerick, and for Cork they did respond with Shane Kingston's goal, to be fair, but Limerick have just been able to kick on from there. Cork making 3 changes. Sean O'Leary-Hayes, Alan Cadigan, Shane Barrett, they're really making changes. Niall O'Leary, Jack O'Connor, and Dara Fitzgibbon goes off. So a big roll of the dice there from Kieran Kingston, who really does need to do something here. It must be said, he needs to make a couple of changes, try and do something different, and we'll see if they can make an impact in the game or make a difference in the game. Going to be hard to stop over the next few years. Yeah, the Limerick, they're just going from strength to strength year on year. Like in 2018, a young team that obviously it was their first All-Ireland, Limerick's first All-Ireland in 45 years. You know, winning an All-Ireland so early in their development cycle, if you want to call it. Like they'd won an under-20 All-Ireland the year previous, and a lot of the players who won the All-Ireland in 2018 just went straight into the senior team. It's actually quite similar to Cork. I mean, you have a lot of players who've been part of under-20 success. Here's Limerick again, getting forward. Lovely bit of play. Gallan on the ball, trying to work an opportunity. Are Limerick going to go for it? They're probably going to try and work a point here. Cian Lynch, he's acres of space. Surely goes over the bar and does. It's very impressive. It's 3:24 now for Limerick, and they're absolutely cruising here. Cian Lynch has been unbelievable as well. He just covers so much ground. And he always seems to be a part of everything that Limerick are doing right. Like when they're moving the ball, when they're passing the ball. You know, the flick off the wrist, the short hand passing as well, the stick work. Like Cian Lynch always seems to be a part of it. So Limerick 3:24 to 1:14. 16 points for Limerick going into the final. 22 minutes plus injury time, and even from watching this game, there does feel to kind of be, if the atmosphere isn't quite as what it was in the first half, you do kind of get the sense that maybe a lot of the fans going to feel like this is probably going to be Limerick's day, and this All-Ireland looks very much won at this point. I mean, if you do remember the 2018 final, I mean, Limerick had a massive lead against Galway, and Galway pulled it back, but obviously that there were two different teams. I mean, Limerick were the inexperienced team. Galway were the seasoned veteran team that won the All-Ireland in 2017. And they had that attitude of never saying die. And Limerick just about got over the line. It was obviously a huge, a lot of pressure for Limerick going in those final few minutes. I mean, not won an All-Ireland for such a long time. I'd be surprised to see something like that happen in this game, where they were to let a huge lead slip. It would take something monumentous from Cork to try and get back into this game. And when Cork do get those opportunities, they're putting a lot wide. It's just not really working. And even energy-wise, like looking at the way Cork are moving, I don't know if it's fatigue or whether they're dead on their feet. They've obviously played a lot of hurling over the past couple of weeks or so. They've played more games than Limerick. Obviously, with the fact that Cork were knocked out quite early on in the championship, in the Munster Championship by Limerick, as a matter of fact. Limerick scoring again, 326 to 114, and it's 18 points. Good point from Shane Barra, who's come off the bench. We'll see what kind of influence Cork can have in the remainder of this game. There will be a post-match reaction as well. There will be an instant match reaction straight after the game. There will be a separate stream for that, so do stay tuned for that as well. And if you are new around here, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. On this channel, I do a number of previews, match reactions, a lot of GAA content, and certainly with the football final and football semi-final still to go, there's still a lot to discuss after this game. E says go Limerick. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Limerick fan, it's golden times for a Limerick fan. Definitely a golden generation, a golden era. When you think about it, they went from not winning an All-Ireland in 45 years to winning 3 in 4 years. It's kind of incredible, really. There would have been a lot of Limerick fans who would have never seen Limerick win an All-Ireland in their generation or in their lifetime, and all of a sudden they've seen Limerick win 3 in 4 years. And I am saying 3 in 4 years because I just don't see how Cork can come back from this now. They're making another change. Sean O'Donoghue goes off. Noel Cashman comes on. It's definitely been a very disappointing performance from Cork's full-back line, it must be said. Niall O'Leary obviously has been taken off as well. They just haven't got tight enough with the Limerick forwards. It's been loose marking, and Limerick have been able to win the ball, whether it's Aaron Gallan or Garrod Hegarty. They've won the ball far too easily. And it just hasn't been good enough from a defensive point of view from Cork. I mean, Limerick have been brilliant, but Cork have made it quite easy in that regards. Limerick goes long to Gallan, turns on his shoulder, puts it over the bar, puts it wide. You were thinking there for a moment that he was going to put it over, but he actually put it wide. Cork, they're trying to drive at Limerick, and see, you just feel like even if Cork drive at Limerick and they try to get in behind them and they just really try and run at Limerick, which they haven't done enough of, in my opinion, I feel like it's too late, because we just seen there a foul from Keane Lynch. And Limerick won't have a problem doing that. Like, they'll foul Cork if they need to stem Cork getting forward, because points isn't going to make a difference at this stage. You know, they're going to need to get goals. And we move into the final water break. I'll update the score. I feel like it's probably very dark here or something. I don't know if people can see me properly, but we'll see. There's the score. Cork 116, Limerick 326. I mean, it's just been breathtaking stuff, it must be said, from a Limerick point of view. How are 16 points in front. Cathy Crowley says, can they come back? I mean, I really don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, 16 points, like, going into 17 minutes. I mean, it's just The answer is no, to put it bluntly. I'm surely not. This is some Limerick team. It really, really is. I mean, I wouldn't say that this Limerick team are better than that brilliant Kilkenny team so far, because obviously Kilkenny won 4 All-Irelands in a row, and when you're thinking of that Kilkenny side that obviously had, Richie Power and Henry Shefflin, and even after their 5 in a row bid was stopped, they went and won the All-Ireland again the next year. Like, I think between maybe 2005 and their last All-Ireland in 2015, they must have won maybe 7 or 8 All-Irelands in that time period. I think they won 8 All-Irelands in 11 years. So Limerick still have a bit to go to get to that same level. But they're definitely the best team since that Kilkenny team. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's been a few teams that people have thought would get to that level. Like Galway looked like they were going to really dominate. Clare looked like they would dominate after 2013. Never did. But Limerick really, really have kicked on. After winning an All-Ireland, their first All-Ireland in 45 years, it could have been very easy for John Kiley and some of the other Limerick players maybe to say, right, we won our All-Ireland, we've done what we needed to do. We'll step away, retire. But absolutely not. They've just gone from strength to strength. They've gotten better. Their underage is looking brilliant as well. Just so much work being done in Limerick. $15 points going into the final 15 minutes. Cork 117, Limerick 326. Very hard to see how Limerick managed to turn it around from here. I'm not too sure how the quality is of this stream as well. I'm obviously not in my usual setup. Using the hotel Wi-Fi at the moment as well, so I don't really know how it's looking, but we'll see what happens. Sean Mullins says, come on Limerick, the Mullins, Fitzgerald and Ryan family will be delighted as I'm in South Africa. Hope South Africa is very nice, Sean. And yeah, I'm sure all Limerick fans, families, supporters, Limerick people will be absolutely delighted. I'm sure Dolores would be very proud as well of this, of what this Limerick team have achieved over the past couple of years now. Bit of handbags going on here off camera. The linesman's getting dragged into it here as well. I don't know what's going on here. Looks like the linesman was getting. I mean, the linesman's getting far too close there. He's getting really into it. I mean, when it comes to any time fights break out in Gaelic football or hurling, normally the referees just stay in the background. I mean, there's no point trying to get involved. I mean, one of the linesmen there just getting right in the middle of it. Timothy says, "Go Cork." I mean, I'm sure Cork will be back. Like what I said before, I think be a big learning curve for a lot of these players, but they do need to build on it. They do have a lot of good under 20 players coming through and minor players. Definitely a lot of work to try and catch up to this Limerick team, it must be said. And Michael says, let's go Limerick. Absolutely. Stephen Storan says, just rejoined. What's the score? The score is Cork 117, Limerick 326 going into the final 10 minutes. And as Jadine says there, I think Limerick have this one in the bag. Absolutely, Limerick. I don't think there's a question in it at this point, going down the final 13 minutes. How long is left in the match? There's about 13 minutes plus extra time or plus injury time. And I can't imagine there'd be much injury time at this moment in time anyways, I'd have to say. Let's see what Fergal Horgan does here. Is he going to send someone off? It definitely seems to be a bit of after it's going on behind the scenes. There, just a bit of a fight breaking out. We've got Cian Lynch and Tim O'Mahony under question here from the referee. Yellow card each, probably the right decision. Wow. Cian Lynch doing a bit of a takedown there. Don't know if Cian Lynch doing a bit of mixed martial arts. Yellow card for Hegarty. Definitely the sting out of the game is very much gone. And like what I was saying at halftime, I expect Limerick just to really sort of slow the game down. They'll probably foul Cork when they can, because points isn't going to make a difference at this stage. You would wonder, are Cork going to drop this short, or are they going to go for the point? They are. They're going to need to start floating like long balls into the edge of the square, or try and drive at Limerick, or try and do something here, because points from that angle at this stage, especially with the gap that it is, isn't going to really make too much of a difference. Ten minutes to go. Cork will definitely need to do something here to try and come back, but Limerick are just controlling the game, slowing it down when they can, and all their work was really done in the first half. 3-17 in the first half. They've 9 points in the second half. Darragh Donovan puts it wide. It's been just breathtaking stuff, it must be said, so far from a Limerick point of view. Damien Cahalane, who's obviously come off the bench, he needs to make a bit of an impact kind of going down the home stretch. Wide from Patrick Horgan. Like they need to be going over. Like if Cork are going to have an opportunity in this game, they really do need to be going over. Kyle Hayes has definitely been hasn't been as involved in the game, but that's the thing about Limerick. Like what I was saying at the start, I mean, if one or two of their players don't show up, if Cian Lynch isn't at it, or if Kyle Hayes hasn't been as involved in the game, they'll find other players to step up, and that's the thing about Limerick, and that's why they remind me so much of the Dublin footballers, in the sense that, the Dublin 6 in a row team, or back when Dublin obviously had Diarmuid Connolly and Bernard Brogan and so many players, because if one player didn't stand up, you had another one who was going to do it for you, and then you had players coming off the bench as well. Chance there for Jeremy Burns, and Limerick definitely haven't played with the same intensity in the third quarter here, or in the last quarter. They've definitely slowed down, and it just feels like an inevitability now at this stage. It feels like we're just looking at the clock, just waiting now for the final whistle to go. For Limerick fans, another monumentous All-Ireland moment for them. David Reedy coming on, and straight away, just with a short hand pass, goes out over the sideline. Cork have it. Seamus Harnley driving forward. It just, when they are driving forward and they're trying those short hand passes or stick work, like it just breaks down all the time for Cork, and they just haven't got it right at all. And I think Limerick have just been ruthless at punishing Cork. They really, really have. Brilliant point there from Shamey Flanagan. Tom Morrissey, actually, as a matter of fact. Wonderful turn and point over the bar. It's mad, like, when you're looking at the Limerick team, there's so many players that could be there for All-Stars, that could be there for Hurler of the Year. Like, there's just so many players all across the pitch for Limerick that get in the conversation. Cork with a goal opportunity there. Brilliant save by Nicky Quaid. Cork not able to turn the tide, and Limerick now just getting forward. Call Hayes. Is he going to go for a point? Get on the score sheet for the first time in the game, but he puts it wide. $118 to $327 with 7 minutes to go. Cork now getting forward. They need to do something here. They might have a goal chance. Lovely bit of play. Seamus Harney. Limerick back in numbers, though, and they just snuff it out. Cork needed to be quicker there. Jeremy Burns getting a good block in, and I think the ref, Fergal Horgan's either going to give a free in here, I think, for Cork for a foul on Seamus Harney. Six minutes to go. Limerick about to win, I believe, their 10th All-Ireland, 10th Senior Hurling Championship. And their first half performance, just unbelievable stuff. It really, really was. So impressive. Ben Kelly says, what's the score? It's Cork 118, Limerick 327. I'll put a score graphic on screen here. Catchu was being substituted there, but you can see him as he's going off, smiling, and Declan Hannon going off the pitch. As he goes off the pitch, he's smiling and he's, hugging John Coyley as he goes off, and you can tell. I mean, Limerick just look like a team that they just love playing hurling. They just enjoy it, They just love their hurl. They love playing it, and it all, if you're enjoying it, it always helps. Accuracy's definitely faded quite a bit in the second half here from Limerick. They've hit, I think, 4 or 5 wides in a row now, but it's at the point where it doesn't matter. Like the game is won from a Limerick point of view. Cian Lynch, he puts it over the bar, breaks. Just a little bit of a period of time there for Limerick without scoring. Lovely point from Cian Lynch. Niall Canty says was not for Cork this year. Not Cork's year, unfortunately, but plenty of good underage talent coming through at the moment. So I'm sure they'll regroup and be back for next year for sure. But whether they can, actually beat this Limerick side or turn the tide on Limerick, it's going to be such a tough one, you'd have to say, for Cork. There's no doubt about that. Sean Finn is complete. Darragh O'Donovan. They just always seem a step ahead of Cork, like just with the movement, with the passing. They just always seem to be one step ahead. Ryan Mulcahy there, trying to get forward. 3 minutes left on the scoreboard. Cork, I mean, it never really felt like Cork really done anything to really try and come back into this game. It just felt like they haven't really tried to create goal chances, or the players that have come off the bench just haven't really been able to do anything. And Limerick just played with such intensity in defence, and we're seeing as well, like especially in the final 10 to 15 minutes, in the final 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, Limerick are fouling Cork if they need to, because I mean they know that essentially that Cork need to go for goals, and points isn't going to make a difference. Oisin O'Toole says, just joining now, Limerick win, did they? Yeah, well, they're 16 points in front with 2 minutes to go. So, yeah, I think Limerick have got this one very much in the bag. They're 328 to 119 in front. So you'd have to, Limerick have won the All Ireland. Massive congratulations to them. There's no doubt about it at this point. Kyle Hayes puts it wide. $3.29 now for Limerick, 38 points to 22, and you're seeing there with Limerick as well, like just they're all playing with smiles on their faces. Cian Lynch gets a point and does a little dance and everything. I mean, a little fist in the air, and that just tells you all you need to know about this Limerick side, is that they're playing brilliant hurling and they're loving it at the same time. Caroline says, Limerick girl following you from Atlanta, Georgia, USA, go Limerick. Absolutely. I'm sure in all the Irish bars in the United States, Canada, Australia, abroad, I'm sure there'll be a lot of very happy Limerick fans tonight. No doubt about it. And in fairness, I'm obviously a neutral. I'm a Dublin man. I have no real affiliation to either county. But you'd have to say, I mean, it is quite incredible how Limerick went 45 years without winning an All-Ireland. And now they've won 3 All-Irelands in 4 years. GA lad says your camera is glitching. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on my usual setup here at the moment, so I don't really. I'm using a hotel Wi-Fi, so I don't really know how this is going to turn out. But we'll see, anyways. But yeah, to go 45 years without winning one, and then 3 and 4 years, quite incredible. And here's Cork now driving at Limerick. They just don't seem to have any energy or pace about themselves. That was dangerous, yeah. Cork, like driving forward, getting in a good opportunity. It's the first time really in the second half. I remember there was one other chance that they forced for Nicky Quaid, but they don't seem to really be creating enough opportunities or chances to really, turn the game around or get back into the game. And that seems to be kind of the big problem. And here's Limerick now. Is there gonna be a perfect icing on the cake? Another point. 331. They've hit 40 in this game. 40 to 23. I mean, that's just unbelievable stuff. 17 points in front. Nicoletta says, well done, Limerick. Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful victory and performance from Limerick. On Cadigan goes long, but once again, Limerick deal with it. Patrick Horgan gets his hurl on the ball, but fell for Limerick. And just going through the motions now at this point, 2 minutes to go in injury time. Limerick 17 points in front. There will be a match reaction after the game as well, so stay tuned for that. That should be out in about 10-15 minutes after the full-time whistle. GA lad says, I'd like to see Cork at least get one goal. One last goal. Yeah, it doesn't look like it at this point, does it? Maybe it would at least make the scoreline a little more respectable. And I suppose for Limerick, I mean, they didn't get to celebrate last year's All-Ireland, so obviously there was no fans and there was no celebrations in the winter time. There is obviously fans there now, so Cork breaking down, losing the ball. I mean, they just that's unbelievable stuff there from David Reid. They just play with so much confidence. They just try things that you wouldn't see any other hurling team across the country in club or county. Aaron Kern says, "What's the score? I'm stuck in work." 332 to 121 for Limerick. It's been unbelievable stuff from Limerick. I mean, they really just set the tempo in the first half, scoring 3-17. They scored 2-8 in the first quarter without all of them from play. And really from there, it was game over. Yeah, 332 to 121, 122. And you can hear the fans just rounds of applause ringing in there for Limerick. And you would expect the final whistle to blow here any minute here now at the moment. Watching from OZ, thanks for keeping us updated. Go Limerick. Absolutely, no bother at all. GA lad says Waterford v Limerick was more eventful. Yeah, it was. Definitely the semi-final was more eventful, and I would put Waterford ahead of Cork at the moment. You can see the pyro in the background there as well. Referee blows the full-time whistle. Limerick are All-Ireland Senior Hurling champions for a 10th time in their history. What an incredible achievement from Limerick. What a performance. The first half performance, undoubtedly one of the best performances in All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship history, in my opinion. And to do it in a final, I mean, incredible stuff. What a team this is. And this is unbelievable stuff from Limerick. It really, really is. And 3 All-Ireland in 4 years. I'll put the score on the screen right now. Limerick 332, Cork 122. Unbelievable from Limerick. I mean, in the first half, they hit 3-17. They hit 2-8 from play. And only 4 players, 4 outfield players for Limerick didn't score, which tells you a lot as well. Cornerbacks were scoring. I mean, the way they were moving the ball as well, like the wrist work, the stick passing. Cork just never got going. It was a poor performance from Cork, make no doubt about it. It was nowhere near good enough for an All-Ireland final level. But Limerick were exceptional, and they forced Cork into errors. They forced Cork to go long into Patrick Horgan. That was clearly the tactic in the first half for Kieran Kingston, because it worked quite well against Kilkenny. There was no doubt about it. Patrick Horgan won a lot of ball on Hugh Lawler, but Sean Finn was unbelievable, and Dan Morrissey as well. Like, both of them crowding around Horgan for those long puck balls in. It didn't work at all. In the second half, I thought Cork were kind of just going through the motions. They made a couple of changes, but it never clicked. It never worked at all. Michael says, congratulations to Limerick. And Sir Klopp says, Waterford to dethrone Limerick next year. Well, a lot depends with Limerick, because, we'll have to wait and see with Waterford, because Liam Cahill might leave and he might go to Tipperary but we'll wait and see. But yeah, unbelievable stuff for Limerick. Congratulations to all Limerick fans. There will be a match reaction that will follow in about 10 to 15 minutes time, so do stay tuned for that. But huge performance, victory, win for Limerick. 3 All-Irelands in 4 years, and the work that has been done in hurling for Limerick. Like, I remember 6-7 years ago when Dublin were beating Limerick in the hurling championship. Like the last time Dublin and Limerick played each other, it was a close game in hurling, and how Limerick have just gone on to do what they've done it's nothing short of remarkable. It really, it's just unbelievable. And the template has been set for other counties to follow. It really is. And JP McManus obviously deserves a lot of credit because he put a lot of money into Limerick, and it's worked absolute wonders for the county. And it isn't just because of that. I mean, look, listen, All Irelands are one on the pitch, and they've been absolutely brilliant. They really have. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here anyway. Thank you very much for anyone who tuned in for the live watch-along stream. Like as I said before, I am in Madrid here at the moment on my holidays, but I brought everything with me because I wanted to watch this game and do a live stream. So I don't know how the connection was. I don't know how this really looks, but I've gone ahead and done it anyway. And there will be a match reaction after, so do stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'll speak to you all in a few.